Get it here, get it here, get it here, because we are leaving Bali. And in this video, as we are rushing to the airport, I'm gonna answer y'all's questions. Y'all been asking me, what is it like to date in Bali? What is it like to live in Bali? Cost of living, all that kind of stuff. Y'all been asking these questions. And some of y'all, especially you ladies, are like, where can I move, okay? Because y'all wanna try something different too. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna chit chat. Let me make sure I ain't leave nothing in the room. We're gonna do a good once over in here, make sure I ain't leave nothing, okay? So I will leave my boxing gloves. I'm gonna leave that for whoever comes next. Okay, I think we good. All you need is your wallet, your keys, your phone, and Jesus. Okay, so I'm gonna answer y'all's questions once we get in the van to go. And we're gonna do that, but honey, y'all, this was a fabulous trip. And for those of y'all who don't know, my name is Malcolm MJ Harris. Nice to meet you. Anywho, I became a global citizen. Allie, I just realized I'm a travel vlogger now. I never knew that. I'm a travel vlogger. Yeah, so anyway, I travel all around the world. I wouldn't say I'm really a nomad because I really like to have a home base. I'm not like, oh, let me stay here for a week, stay here for a week. I'm somebody who likes to have a home base. But you know, for me, my logic is I got me, you know, my boys 19 and 20, they out the house. So I ain't got nothing holding me back. I currently am not married, so that don't keep me from going nowhere. And even when I do get married, he needed to travel too. So life is what it is, but y'all be asking me these questions about what's it like to live abroad, what's it like, all that kind of stuff. Y'all have asked me even about racism, like, ooh, how's it being a black person in this place? And so I'm gonna answer your questions. Let me do this because I can't multitask to save my life. I'm going to get this hotel room paid for because I gotta pay the bill. And then when we get into the van, I'm going to then talk to y'all and answer your questions that you've been asking and just give you kind of a life update from my perspective on what's it like to be a black person living abroad. Okay. All right, so y'all ready? Is the light good in here? I got you water, Allie. There you go. So let's talk about it, okay? We're going to talk about, this is just from my perspective about living in Bali, okay? I lived here for 6 months last year, came back this time for a month. And I'm gonna talk to you about what is it like to date here. My perspective is gonna be really applicable to women and gay men in general, but I think that the groups who may find it especially helpful are black and brown people, because just you'll understand when I talk about like the racial dynamics and things of that nature here. It's just something for you to kind of, it just is what it is. It is what it is. We're gonna talk about what's the cost of living like here. We're gonna talk about race, because that's a big factor when you're looking to travel. You know, if you have not had to think about racial dynamics before you travel, consider yourself privileged and lucky, because there's those of us in the world, we do have to think about that before we travel to certain places. You know, the world is not everyone's oyster. So we're going to talk about that and just kind of give you my perspective. So first of all, before I go into all this, the way that I ended up living in Bali and then South Africa and so on was that I was living in America. I never, ever, ever had a desire to live abroad. I never thought about it. It was not a concept in my mind. I had a friend who moved to Australia a couple years prior, and I thought that was good for him. And he tried to encourage me like, oh, you should move, you know, try living abroad. And I just didn't see a benefit in doing that, you know? It just wasn't something I wanted to do. It just occurred to me one day, I think I was watching YouTube videos and I was seeing videos like of people who were like, I live in Thailand for under $1,500 a month. I'm like, you can live somewhere in the world for that cheap? You know that? And I was like, well, shoot. And then I started seeing all these other videos that would pop up. And this would just be stuff I just watched before bed, just kind of like thinking like, that'd be nice. And I was living a life in the US where making a good living, but frankly, not having a whole lot left over at the end of every month, because I own multiple businesses. When the businesses make money, great, you got extra. When they don't make great money, you don't have extra. And sometimes you got to come out your pocket to pay bills. And so I just wasn't able to really enjoy the abundance of my life, because frankly, I wasn't building a lot of abundance. I was doing what I had to do to take care of my family, have enough savings for emergencies. But what about my retirement? What about my future? I'm just being real with you. So anyway, I started really thinking about where could I live if I wanted to live somewhere else. And at first I was thinking about just in the US. I was like, well, maybe I could move from LA to like Atlanta, because I know Atlanta, you know, has a lower cost of living. But you know, Atlanta ain't like it used to be in the 90s, where it was like really, really, really inexpensive. So I was like, I don't know about that. Then I thought like I could move to certain other places that were cheaper in America. But to be quite honest, then, you know, I started thinking about, well, ooh, what's it gonna be like to be a black gay man in some of these places? I'm not calling out no cities, but y'all get where I'm going with that. I started thinking. And then I had a trip that was planned to Bali. I was only supposed to be in Bali for like 2 weeks or something like that. And I was like, what if I go to Bali and just stay for a little bit longer? So I told my nephew's sons at the time, I was like, what if we go to Bali and just stay and see how it goes? And they were both 19 at the time. And they said, yeah, okay, let's do it. And I'm so grateful for their presence in my life, because I wouldn't have had the courage to do it without them. Some people can do solo travel. I can do that now, but I don't think I would have had the courage to do it back then. So I'm very grateful for them. We came out here and it was an eye-opening experience. The first thing that opened my eyes when I got here was, to be quite frank, the cost of living. Okay, there are places in Bali, and Bali is, I guess, I don't know if it's the word is province. It's an island in Indonesia. Indonesia, I think, is the 4th most populous country in the world, okay? And this is one of their 16,000 islands, okay, literally. The cost of living here is much lower than the States. I do know that certain parts of Bali, it is very much so getting expensive here because of tourists and expats and so on who are coming here post-pandemic. But I will say that for the most part, it has been much less expensive. For example, I went to lunch today with a friend before packing to go to the airport, because I packed the same day, right? And so anyway, went to lunch with him. I ordered a salad, like a big salad, not like a little cute garden salad, a big girl salad, okay? I ordered a big girl salad, with chicken and all that stuff in it. I got 3 chicken tacos. No, I'm not pregnant. What else did I get? 3 chicken tacos, iced oat milk latte. Oh, some chicken wings. I did have a taste of some chicken wings. And yes, this was for me. Stop judging me. Okay. And then my friend had a vegan burger and a bottle and a coconut. Okay. All right. It is what it is. I'm half his size and eat 3 times as much as him, but whatever. Did that. The bill came out, and the bill came out to that's how much the bill came out to. $13. 13 US dollars. Okay? Now, if I was back in LA, just the chicken salad would have been that. You see what I'm saying? And so for me, immediately when I got here, me and my boys, they were like, this is really great, Unc. Our money goes much further. They're my nephew's sons, right? They say, our money goes much further being here, And so they automatically was able to do a lot more things. I'm like, wow, my money goes much further. I could live on just this one little check. I can live on that all month here, And I was like, this is really, really nice to not be spending so much at the end of the month, I got something to save. I got something to put towards my retirement more than I was able to do before. You see? And so that was the first thing. The cost of living is wonderful. I know one person who, her and her man have a 2-bedroom apartment about 40 minutes outside the primary tourist areas. And with them, they're like in a more suburban area. Or suburban meaning like it's more locals who live there, not so expat-ish. And so, ooh, he's cute. I'm gonna talk to y'all about the men in a minute. We gotta get into that. But anyway, listen to this. Their rent for 2 bedrooms, they got a pool, their own private pool, it's like a villa. Their rent for the year is about $6,000 for the year. That's like, what, $500 a month? Something like that? Mm-hmm. Now, prices are going up because it's post-pandemic. I know another guy, he has a 1-bedroom, like, little villa for himself. Now, mind you, when he got it, he had to put a water heater in it because they didn't have a water heater in there yet. He also had to buy a refrigerator for that, but that's common. You got to do that in LA. And his is $1,400 a year. And I know some people here who spending $6,000, $7,000 a month, too. My point is, you can live high on the hog. You can live very, very nimble here. You have that option here. Of course, if you want to live in the primary tourist areas, like right now, we're in an area called Canggu. If you want to live over here, yes, it's going to be more expensive because you're competing with tourists. You're competing with people who use their properties for short-term rentals like Airbnb and so on and so forth. So they can make a lot of money on the day rates on that. So why would they charge you a cheap rate for the month? So, I think that that's something just to consider. I believe that they told me that the minimum wage here in this country is something like, I don't remember the exact amount, but it comes out to about 300,000 rupiah a month or something like that. And so I don't know if that's the exact amount. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. But, you know, if you are someone where you come here and you have kids and you may want to, like I said, hire a nanny or hire, you know, someone to help you run the house with cleaning and things of that nature, your resources may allow you to do that. And so one of the things I've noticed that a lot of people here, you know, appear to be working remotely or, you know, that kind of stuff. So what they're doing is they work online. You know, I'm just saying a VPN goes a long way. You know, let's say that, you know, you got your call center job in the States and you do whatever you do there. They don't know if you in Kentucky or here. They don't know where you at. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it tight, keep it right. But that's how people doing it. They're not doing nothing fancy. These ain't rich people. They taking that money where, you know, your $50,000 from the US, you know, per year may feel like $150,000 out here. So anyway, that's that part, the money, you know. I will say that if you come out here, I would caution you against two things. First of all, don't come out here trying to get the best deal possible on absolutely everything, because at the end of the day, there are people who are coming here from all over the world who are willing to spend. So you're not going, if they say the price is the price, you can negotiate, but don't expect it it's going to go down but so much. That's the first thing. The second thing is this: don't come out here trying to overpay for stuff. You know, like, oh my God, this only costs this. I'll pay extra. I'll tip extra. I'll do all this. Because that messes up the economy here. When you as a foreigner basically is coming to a place and they tell you the rate for this is 300,000 rupiah, and just for context, I think that's like $18, right? And you're like, oh my God, that's so cheap. I'll pay you 1,000,000 rupiah, which is what, like $60, something like that. You're not doing them a favor. Maybe for that individual you are, but what you're doing is you're affecting the economy here, because now you're jacking up the prices. And now locals who are paid in local currency are being pushed to pay higher for services because you as a foreigner is flexing your financial might by paying too much for stuff, right? So you want to understand that the prices are the prices and the currency is the currency, and pay rates that are fair for this economy, okay? Let's talk about dating here, okay? Now, as y'all know, I'm a black gay man, right? Whew, girls, it's a desert. All right, you're gonna blank out the D word I just said. It is a desert here, all right? I feel like this: if you are a black woman or a black gay man, and if you date black men, if that's your thing, this ain't the place to come looking for one. This is not the place to come looking for one. Do not come here looking for one, all right? Black folks travel everywhere, okay? But if you're gonna come here, you better be open to dating interracially. And even then, good luck, okay? I'm just being real with you, okay? So in my experience here, much like many other parts of the world, I think that men seem to place a higher premium on women who don't look like us, on men who don't look like us. I'll just leave it at that. You see what I'm saying? They want something other than you. You see what I'm saying? Especially the ones who's coming here. I'm not trying to generalize. There's some who don't feel that way. I've certainly met them. I have some friends who live here where they love their black women, they love their women of color and so on, but I've met far more who do not. And it's not just around diversity in dating, like, oh, I'll date everybody. It literally comes down to they will not date you. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I have nothing against anyone who wants to be diverse in their approach to dating. Date who you want to date. I'm going to date who I want to date. But when you are literally excluding out an entire group of people, one way or the other, that's when I think it's kind of like a little like, really? And not only are you excluding a group of people, you're excluding the people who look like you. It's a reality here. So with that understood, if you come here and you're looking to date, I would say definitely be open-minded to dating men who don't look like you. Okay, and I talk to many black women every day, and a lot of black women and black gay men have a preference towards, I want a black man, I want my black king. Okay, well, you know, maybe in Chicago, Atlanta, DC, Philadelphia, wherever, you can find that more easily, but don't come here looking for that, because it's just the inventory is just not available from that particular perspective. Yeah. And so just kind of keep that in mind. I think that a lot of people come here and they think that they're going to be on their Zen Wusa stuff. Like, oh, I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to Wusa. I'm going to Zen out. I don't need no man. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Everybody needs their hips rubbed on. Everybody do. Everybody do. You need your hip rubbed on. You need your booty rubbed on, don't you? You need your booty rubbed on. It's okay. You know, and we are not the star of the show. That's why I like living in Africa. Because, baby, you feel like the star of the show, honey. You feel like the star of the show, honey. They treat you good. They value you. Girl, we're going to do a video on why you need to visit Africa, South Africa specifically, because I have not been anywhere else in Africa. But why you need to go there, honey. It's a different experience, a different realm. But to that point, if you are a straight man, I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care if you tall, short, I don't care who you are. If you are a straight man, this will be your paradise, okay? They will eat you up for breakfast, okay? They love y'all out here. They love y'all. So I'm not trying to poo-poo on this place. I'm just saying that some people's experiences may be different. As a straight man, baby, it's a candy shop for yourself. Have a good time. And I'm not talking about just amongst the locals. I'm talking about a lot of times it's the expats, the visitors who are coming here. Child, they're gonna eat you up, okay? So that's something to kind of consider, okay? Racially, you know, here's the reality, okay? When I first came here, somebody told me, why would you go to Bali? You know, they don't like us there. And I said, where are you getting that from? Because that's never been my experience here. I feel like here, from a racial perspective, I have felt more open and more accepted, and race doesn't appear to be a massive factor here, especially for the local Indonesians. They don't seem to be focused on that. You know, you're going to get treated fine regardless. Of course, anywhere you go, you know, you can feel nuances of it. Like I've certainly on a couple of occasions, gone into like a restaurant or whatever. And when I'm going into that restaurant, I'm being told that my outfit's inappropriate because I got my arms out. But then I look across the room and Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so who don't look like me are wearing the same thing. And it's like, well, what about them? So that's what I do. I just call out in that moment. You know, they say something, well, what about them? Why is his shirt different than mine? Oh, it's totally the same. You made an exception for him? Why, thank you for making an exception for me. Where am I sitting? Okay. Where am I sitting, or where do I leave my review? That's me. That's how I do. And so, but again, I've had that happen 1% of the time. The vast majority of the time, that is not a factor. At the end of the day, what I found here and like in many countries, the only color that matters is green. They want the cash. Okay? And for those who got an ounce of common sense, they're more focused on your pocketbook than they focus on the color of your skin. You see what I'm saying? And so that's not really been a challenge for me. I will say that keep in mind that when you're here, you are going to come in contact with people from lots of different countries. And some of those people you come in contact with from certain countries, not naming none specifically, I have experienced that some of those people have probably never been around black people or people of color in general, and you feel it in how they treat you. You see? So with that understood, you know, my logic is just keep it cute and keep it mute. If you know when you walk into a room and you see someone who look up at you and they look like they're uncomfortable by your presence being there, don't talk to them. For example, I was getting on my motorbike earlier, right? And the guy was parked right beside me. Now, I would commonly say to someone, hi, how are you? You know, just common courtesy or whatever. When I walked out to get to my bike, he looked up at me and turned his head real fast, which is a clear indicator to me that you don't want to talk to me. Back the way I grew up, you would still say like, oh, hey, how are you? You still try to make people feel comfortable. You're in the elevator, hi, how are you? I'm not about making people feel comfortable or uncomfortable, all right? At the end of the day, if we're not mutually here trying to make each other feel good, then we just don't have to speak to each other, and that's fine. And nothing against you. So I've kind of, here what I will say is this, the locals will be fine. The other folks who are visiting, some of them will be nice, some of them won't be nice. But what I have found is that if you don't go out of your way to interact with them, they don't go out of their way to interact with you. You know, so if somebody seems like they have a kind, sweet spirit, then talk to them, chit chat with them, connect to them. If they don't seem like they have a kind spirit, then don't connect to them. Don't try to make conversation with somebody who don't look like they want to have a conversation with you, because you may have a rude awakening in how they respond to you. I've heard some horror stories of you trying to talk to somebody just being outright rude. Just remember, they're here on vacation, but that don't change who they are and where they come from and what the culture is back where they from. All right, so from that perspective, I would say racially, I would give it a score of about an 8. All right, 8 out of 10, right? 8 being that it's a really great place, subtle nuances of issues that you may deal with from here to there, but nothing that makes you feel unsafe. I doubt seriously you'd ever be called out of your name, anything like that. Dating wise, for straight men, 10, 11, 12, 13, okay? For the gays and the girls, good luck. And I will throw this one nuance in here about gays. You have to remember that Indonesia is predominantly a Muslim country. Bali is predominantly Hindu. right? In both groups, these are not groups that I would say are known historically for celebrating gays, right? That's not a negative thing. It just is what it is. And so I think coming here, thinking it's going to be just like Miami, San Francisco, whatever. Don't bring that mindset here. Don't come here. You can bring your man here if you feel like it. I'm assuming, you can come here, but you don't need to be walking hand in hand skipping. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to adjust to the cultural norms of where you're at. I'm certain that there are gay people here who are locals who were born here, but they operate in a way here that's respectful of the environment that they are in. So you kind of need to keep that in mind as well. That's just my recommendation to you, but you take that and do with it what you will. But I would say if you're a straight man, it's a 10 out of 10 here for dating. If you're a gay or a girl, bring your man with you. If you don't bring your man with you, then it's a solid 4. It's a solid 4. All right, a solid 4. Okay. If you are not a black woman, maybe it's a 7 for you. So I be seeing, the other ladies here that y'all be getting it in. I'm not mad at y'all, okay? Get in where you fit in. Have a good time, girls, okay? But if you a melanated chick, don't come here looking on for nothing. What else? Safety. I've never felt more safe in my life than I feel in Bali. Oh my gosh, I feel so safe. I've walked down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not recommending that you do that, but I've walked down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning and felt perfectly safe. Now, I have heard stories of women walking down the street with their bags out, like their purse on their shoulder, and somebody riding by on a motorcycle trying to take their bag or whatever. But it's late at night. They walking through certain neighborhoods that they ain't got no business walking in. So my thing is, use common sense. If you wouldn't walk down the street alone where you from, then don't do that here. Is it safe here? It's a very safe place. But I do think that at the end of the day, humans are humans. And there are people who, local Balinesian thugs tend to be very, very, very kind people, no issues. But you have to remember, there are some people who come here to visit from other countries and other parts of Indonesia who, they come in here looking for trouble. They're looking for issues. They're looking to steal. They're looking to do all that kind of stuff. And so just kind of keep that in mind, that it's not the locals that can be the problem. But overall, I would say this is a safe place. If you're a solo traveler, this is a safe place. To women, one safety tip I would give you is, like, when you're walking down the street late at night, you're going to have a lot of people riding by you on motorbikes saying, hey, do you need a ride? Do you need a ride? They are legitimate drivers to drive you someplace, but personally, I would not do that. I would call a Grab, which is like their Uber here, to pick you up. Because A, the ones who are just riding around the street are going to overcharge you. They're going to overcharge you. And then B, there's no accountability. You get on this bike with this person, there's no app to refer back to about who picked you up. There's no nothing. So I would say to everybody, but especially the women, don't do that. But anyway, if you have any other questions about Indonesia, I'm happy to answer them if you want to write in about them. Overall, I will say this is a lovely country. I've had a wonderful time here, even for the aspects of it that don't necessarily serve where I'm at this point in my life in terms of, being single and all that kind of good stuff. Overall, it's a wonderful, wonderful place. I don't think this is a place that I could live year round because of those reasons, but it is a wonderful place to be. Of course, like in any country, make sure you respect the local norms and everything like that. Respect the local laws and respect the local culture. That's one of the things that I'm very, very conscious of, especially with, I gotta say it, Americans. Why y'all gotta be so loud? And I'm saying y'all, cause I'm not loud, right? I'll be loud for y'all on camera, but be in a damn restaurant, everybody else is talking low and quiet and talking loud. Well, I just doing the most, Don't do that. Don't do that. If you in a part of town where you don't see people showing a lot of skin, respect the local norms. People not showing a lot of skin. Don't be talking so loud. Don't be so rude and abrasive. Understand that there's a language barrier. So sometimes that person that you're dealing with at a restaurant may be like, I'm sorry, I don't understand you. Or they may bring you the wrong thing. It's not that they're trying to be difficult. It's that they don't understand what you said, right? You don't speak the same language as them and vice versa. And they know your language to some degree, but you don't know their language at all. So they're doing the best they can to serve you and get you what you need So don't be rude if the order gets wrong. You ask for ketchup and they bring you chili sauce. That's what they thought you was asking for. They didn't know. Just correct them and have them go get something different. You see what I'm saying? Just be nice about it. You know, that's what it comes down to. Sometimes it's not always disrespect, and they ain't treating you like this just because you black. Right? They treat you like this because I'm black. Nah. Sometimes they treat you like that just because they didn't understand what you were saying. Sometimes they treat you like that because they just had a bad day. Sometimes they treat you like that because you and you triggered they in it. Now you got two dealing with each other. You know, this ain't always race. Sometimes it's you and you know. But regardless, y'all click like and click share. I'm on the way to the airport. I'm gonna get me a good sleep on this plane. I got this little neck pillow, baby. I hate those old fluffy ones. You put this girl around her neck right here. Oh, it's so good. Click like and click share.